project, I'm using Bernat Baby Blanket. This is a fluffy yarn. If you don't know how to single crochet, you need to go elsewhere because you're not going to be able to see the stitches very well. So if you need, like, if you don't know how to single crochet, you're going to have a hard time following this tutorial. So learn that first, please. So I'm using a 5.25 millimeter hook. This is a recommended 9. If you have trouble with a magic ring, you can actually just make a slip knot, have the end piece away from you, twist, and you make a magic ring like that, and it's completely movable. You can also do a chain 4 and attach at the end, but you will have a hole. So we're going to start off. I am going to chain 1. I don't like to count this as my first single crochet. I just think it's hard to see, especially with this project. We're going to start by making 6 single crochets. So I do like to do my single crochets a little bit different with amigurumi, just because it makes it a little tighter. So typically you would grab your yarn right here, and then you go under. I want you to go over and pull it through. It's going to make it tighter. Watch, I'll show you again. So instead of going under and grabbing your string, we're going to go over. It can kind of take a little bit to like get used to it, but it just makes it a little tighter. So that's 2. And then we'll just pull our string. Real tight so that we don't have a hole. I'm going to add a stitch marker into this last stitch because it's really important for this because it's really hard to see where I'm at. And then I'm going to slip stitch into the first single crochet I made. So this is my chain I made. I don't want to go into that. I'm going to go into this single crochet, make a slip stitch, and then we're going to be working in the round, so we're not going to be making rows from now on. I'm going to go right back in and put 2 single crochets in each stitch, so we'll have 12 single crochets all around. Here I am at my last stitch. I'm going to take this out. This is my last one. I'm going to add my last 2, which will give me 12. Okay, and since we are working in the round, now I'm going to pull up and mark this last stitch before I even begin. We should have 18 at the end of this. So right into this stitch that we made, the first single crochet, we're going to place 2 single crochets. And then just 1 in the next. And we'll continue that. You'll have 18 at the end. So 2 and then 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. Follow that all around. You'll end on a 1. For this next row, we'll be doing something very similar, but we're going to start with 1 single crochet instead of starting with the 2 that we did. So just 1 single crochet in this first stitch, and then another. And then in the next, we'll do a single crochet increase, which is 2 in the same stitch. And we'll continue that pattern all along, doing 2 single crochets and then a single crochet increase. And at the end, you'll have 24 stitches, and I'm talking and not paying attention. You'll end with 24 stitches, and you'll end with an increase. For this next row, we'll be starting with a single crochet increase, and then we'll be doing 1 increase and then 3 single crochets, and then another increase all around. You'll end up with 30 stitches, and you'll end with the 3 singles. This will be our last increase row. For this row, we'll start off with a single crochet, and then we'll be making 4 of those, and then an increase. So 1, 2, 3, 4, increase. 1, 2, 3, 4, increase. You will end with a increase, and you'll have 36 stitches, and I'll see you back here. Guys, I just finished this last increase row. So for this pattern, we're going to now just go round and round and round and round and round. You really don't need to keep mark anymore. You can just relax, watch a movie, and not worry about it. I like to just measure. I'm gonna add about maybe like 6 inches. You can make your ghost as short and long as you want, and then once you get to the length you want, we will add the face. I'll show you how I'm gonna add the face. Here we are at the bottom of our ghost. This is how long I made it. And we're gonna do the trim, which is a scallop edge. So right where I'm at, I'm going to skip 1 single crochet and go in the next, and place 5 double crochets. After that, we'll skip 1, and in the next, do a single crochet. Skip 1, and in the next, place 5 more double crochets. And we're going to keep that pattern all along. So I have my 5 in this one. We'll skip 1, and then single crochet in the next. Skip a stitch, and then 5 double crochets in the next. So we're doing 5, skip, single, skip, 5. So here I am at the end. We should have 3 spaces left. We'll go in, do our last single crochet. So skipping a stitch and then single crochet in the next. And then this is the chain we made. We're going, or the first stitch we made. We're going to go in and do a slip stitch. And once we have that slip knot, we're going to chain 1, pull up our string, and cut. Now we're going to make an inner part that's going to go right along here to seal it up. We're going to basically start this the same way we did the ghost. So with a magic ring, and inside the magic ring, we will place 6 single crochets right in this loop. Have all 6 single crochets in here. I'm going to pull up for a second and close my loop by pulling the string. And we're going to go right in. Feel free to use a stitch marker. And we'll be doing single crochet increases in each stitch. So at the end, you'll have 12 stitches. Once you've completed all 12, we will start with an increase. So 2 in the same stitch. And then 1. And then 2 more. I'll meet you back here. You'll have 18. So doing an increase and then a single, increase and then a single. So I just finished that row. I have 18 stitches. To start the 3rd row, we'll start with just 1 single crochet. And then another single crochet. And then a single crochet increase in the next. So we'll be following that pattern, starting with a single, not a increase. So do 2 singles and then an increase, 2 singles and then an increase. And I'll meet you back here. You'll have 24 stitches. I just completed this row. We're next going to start with a increase. So 2 single crochets in the same stitch, and then we will do 3 singles and then another increase. And we'll continue doing that till we get back here. We'll have a total of 30 stitches. So start with an increase, then do 3 single crochets and another increase, and we're going to do our final row for this piece. We're going to start with a single crochet, and we'll be doing 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then an increase, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then an increase. You'll end with increases. You'll end with an increase, and you'll end with 36 stitches. So I'll meet you back here once you have. I'm gonna chain 1, pull up, and cut, and that will be it for this piece. And we'll move on to the rest. We're gonna be making the arm. We're gonna start with our magic ring again. Inside the magic ring, we'll place 6 single crochets. So for this next part, we're going to be making rows of 6. So we are working in the round. You're more than welcome to, so we just did row 1, rows 2, 3, 4, and 5 will all be rows of 6. So that's 4 rows of 6. So 6, 6, and 6. So there's 2 ways to go about this. Since this is so tiny, I don't like to add my stitch marker because it's just going to take up more time. So if we have 4 rows with 6 each, that's 24 stitches. So what I like to do is just count 24 and just go around and around and around and around and around till I get to 24. But if you don't want to do that, then you're more than welcome to use a stitch marker. But we're just placing single crochets in each of these stitches. So we have 6 single crochets. We're placing just 1 in each. So I'll see you when you're done with those 4 rows, or just keep going around until you get to 24 stitches. That's what I'm going to be doing. We're going to make decreases. So we're going to do a decrease for this next row. So at the end, we'll have 3 stitches. So I'll just show you 1, 2, sorry about that. And 3. Okay, so now we have 3 stitches, and then we're going to be doing our last 4 rows of all 3. So like I said, for this it's going to be really hard to put your stitch marker in there and do that because it's so tight. So we're going to be doing 12 stitches. So I'm just going to go around and just count till 12. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'll see you at 12. Once you complete, you will chain 1 and then pull up, cut your string, and you'll have our little arm. Looks like a drumstick. You're gonna make 1 more. I think that will be good. I'm gonna put them on the 7th. Poke my hook through and pull that yarn through, and then right beside this stitch, I'm so sorry, so it's right in between this stitch, so right next to this stitch I'm going to poke through again and add the other side, and then I'll just tie a knot. Mouth, I'm going to be using a skinnier string because I think the fluffy one, it's just no matter how many stitches I make, it's going to be too big. So you can use just any black worsted weight yarn, I think. I'm using a 5mm hook. I'm going to start by making my magic ring. And then inside I'm going to do 6 single crochets. Once I have my 6 single crochets, I'm just going to pull on my string to close my loop. And then what we're going to do is add 1 more row. You can add more if you need to, but since I want to make this a oval shape, I'm going to do a single crochet in this first stitch, working in the round, and in the next stitch I'm going to do an increase. And then in the next 2 stitches, I'm going to do just regular single crochets. And then one increase. And then we're here at the beginning of my round. I have 1 more stitch left. I'm going to go in and just do 1 single crochet. And then I'm going to slip stitch into that first single crochet. Chain 1. Pull up. And cut my string. I'm going to cut it kind of long because I'm going to use it to sew. Our crochet hook. I'm going to go, so I have 2 rows. I'm going to go 1 row down from the eyes and add this. So I'm going to use my crochet hook to get these long strings inside. So just going in and pulling this string through, and then pulling this one. Okay, make sure it looks good where it's placed. I'm going to attach a yarning needle, and we'll just go in, and I like to go along these single crochet stitches. So we'll just go in, pull up, make sure it's straight, you know, this is not a big piece. Go in, once our mouth is nice and secure, we can turn it inside out and tie our 2 black strings together. And there we have it. We'll now stuff him. We're going to stuff him next. What we're going to do for the mouth is I'm going to make it from here, so 2 rows down. I'm going to start right here, skip 3, 1, 2, 3, and go in right here. I'm going to go over here and then stick my needle through. I'm going to pull till like there. Then I'm going to skip the 3. And go in. But when I go in, I'm going to meet myself in this center one. The reason why I like to do this stuffed is because you can visualize it a little bit better. Okay? And then what we'll do is go in, pull down, and go back in through this hole we went in, and just stick it anywhere really. So so that we have a little smiley face. And then just conceal this end piece just by like sticking it in. So for his stuffing, I'm also going to be using pellet beads. You can also use rice. I like to take a nylon. I've used this nylon many times. And just cut a piece. Secure one end with a rubber band. Once you have it filled, I don't like to like close it so tight that it's not able to move because I want to kind of form it around him. So I'm going to do it like a little bit tighter. Like that, so that it just kind of naturally sits like this. Don't do it too tight. Secure another rubber band. And that is that part. And then for our stuffing, I suggest like kind of breaking it up. Once you have it all stuffed and ready, you can take a piece of string about double the size of the circumference of him. You'll have this piece here. You'll just carefully go in through the stitches and then out through right here below, right below this scallop stitch we made. Go back in through the next stitch. At the end, you'll end up right next to the other string. You can pull your needle off and make a knot. And then carefully pull your string through. Next, we'll be making our hat. So for my hat, I'm using the same crochet hook and I'm using also a fluffy black yarn. You can do a magic ring or chain 3. I'm going to be doing something a little bit different because this yarn sheds a lot when I do magic rings. So I don't know if I said this, you're going to want a stitch marker for the hat. Chain 1. And then I'm actually going to work my stitches in this chain. This is my magic ring or chain 3. Because I'm not doing a magic ring, I said, because this sheds a lot for some reason. Okay, and then we're going to put 6 single crochets in here. For this next row, we're going to single crochet 1. And I'm going to add my stitch marker. And we're going to do 1 single crochet in each stitch for this row, so you'll have 6. For this next row, we'll be doing 1 single crochet, working in the round. Add your stitch marker. I like to add it on my first one for this that I made. And then an increase, which is 2 single crochets in the same stitch. And you're going to keep that pattern going until you have 9 stitches. So 1 single crochet and then an increase, 1 single crochet and then an increase. For this next row, we're going to do a whole row of just single crochets. So just 1 single crochet in each stitch. So at the end of row 4, we'll have another 9 stitches. We're now on row 5. We're going to start with 1 single crochet in the next stitch, and then an increase, and then 2 single crochets in the next 2 stitches, 1 in each. And then we'll continue that all around, doing an increase and then 2 stitches, increase, then 2. And then on our last one, we'll just have one left because we have that one here. That's our in between. And at the end of row 5, you'll have 12 stitches. For row 6 of the hat, we're just going to do 1 single crochet in each row. So we'll have 12 stitches again. For row 7, we're going to start by doing 1 single crochet in each stitch. We're going to do 3. So 1, 2, and 3. Then an increase, 1, 2, 3, and then an increase for a total of 15. Moving on to row 8, we will do again 1 row of all single crochets for a total of 15. So just 1 in each stitch. Moving on to row 9, we're going to start with 1 single crochet. In one stitch, and then another in the next. So that's 2. And then an increase. Let me mark this before I get closer. So start with 2, and then an increase. And then we'll do 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, an increase, 1, 2, 3, 4, an increase, 1, 2, 3, 4, increase, and then we'll have just 2 left at the end for a total of 18 stitches. For row 10, we're going to do another row of all single crochets without any increases, so we'll have 18 across this whole row. We'll next be working on the brim. So for the brim, you see these loops right here? These are the loops we're going to work in. So there's 2 loops for your stitches. We're going to work in front loop only. So you see that there's 2. This is the one we're only going to work in. The front loop that's up, not in. Okay, and we're going to start by doing 1 single crochet and then another and then an increase. We're going to do that all along, and we'll have 24 stitches at the end of this row, and that is doing 2 single crochets and then an increase. To row 12, we're going to repeat row 11. So doing 2 single crochets and then an increase, 2 single crochets and then an increase all around for a total of 32 stitches at the end. For the remainder of our brim, we don't have to work in the front loops only. You can work in the full stitch if you're more comfortable with that. For this row, we'll be doing 3 and then an increase. So 1, 2, 3, increase, 1, 2, 3, increase. Oh my god, that's an ant. And for a total of 40 stitches all around. For row 14, which will be our last and final row of the hat, we're going to do 4 single crochets and then an increase. So 1, 2, 3, 4, increase. 1, 2, 3, 4, increase. All around, you'll have 48 stitches. Okay, that is it for the hat. Make sure it looks good on your little guy. I'm going to chain 1, pull up my string, and cut. So here's my little ball of polyfill beads. As you can see, it's a lot smaller. I might have to even make it a little smaller now that I'm feeling this. There it is. I think that looks really good. It kind of fills my whole thing, to be honest. But I am going to add just a tidbit of stuffing at the bottom. So I am going to make, though, I want to make a little like detail for my hat, which will go around the hat. I'm going to be using just a regular worsted weight yarn. So I want this row of chains to be kind of skinny. So I'm going to use, and also like detailed like a braid. So I'm going to use a small hook, because if you use a big hook, it won't look like a braid. It'll just look like a loose thing. So we're just going to make like a row of chains. So I just made a chain of 42 with a 1.9 millimeter hook. You can certainly use a bigger hook. This is just like the biggest small one I had on hand. I probably would have used like a 2 or 3 millimeter, but it was fine. And then I'm just gonna cut And then for my project, I'm really just using it for decoration, but if you're using it for like a kid, you can certainly add a few stitches, like just use some like thread to secure it more. But I am actually just going to line it up and tie a knot. So yeah, this is what that looks like. I even left some of the strings. I thought it looked kind of cute. Just a little accent for that. Now we're going to attach it to our head. Our yarning needle and attaching our fluffy yarn to this. Cutting like a medium-sized piece. So we're just gonna go right in, make sure our stuffing is in there. If it's poking out at the end, you can always just stuff it. So I'm gonna go along this rim. So like this is the first row of our rim. I'm gonna go in through there, and I'm just gonna like go in and go out. And then like skip a like, so there's a stitch right here that I just came out of. I'm gonna go right next to it, but not in it, and then just go into the next. But making sure that we go inside some of the white, obviously, because that's what we're attaching it to. You're gonna certainly have some fuzz that pops out, but we can clean that up later. And you're just gonna go all along. And so here I am at, let me zoom out of this. Why is this so close? So I'm at the front. I just finished. I wish I would have started at the back. But I think what I'm going to do is just, I'm going to make 2 really tight knots and then just shove it inside. Here he is right now. This lighting right now is horrendous. It's dark outside. I just have my ring light on. It looks kind of, but the hat came out so cute. Next, we move on to the arms, which I think really help him out to make him look so cute. So we want to like have the arm like, yeah, like boo. So we're gonna attach it down here. We're gonna try to make these first stitches down here like pretty flat because we want it to kind of just like be flat, and then we're gonna stop like somewhere right here. So maybe like, we'll just, I'm gonna kind of go in from a side on his body, go in the arm, and then I'm gonna go out again from his body and up into the arm again. I'm trying to get that flat and tight. And I'm gonna do that a few times, that technique. So going in from the very side, like this row right here, I'm going in and going right out through his body. And then from the very outside here, I'm gonna go in again, trying to make it very flat. See, you can't even really see the bottom of it. I'm gonna do that a few more times because it makes it so it blends in. I'm gonna go up just on this side, go up through the side of him, like not at the top of his arm, on the side of his arm, so it's not visible across. Okay, tight. Go in from the side of his arm, out his body. And then from his body, I'm going to go in one more time on this side, I think. And then I'm gonna switch this over. And I'm gonna go do the same thing on this side so that this front side is also secured. So doing the same thing here now. Oh my god, that looks so cute. And then we're going to, I have this string down here. I'm gonna bring this down with it. And tie a knot. And then I'll shove those in, and then I'll put the arm on the other side.